Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Talk.
A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on Hail Hail Media.
Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, 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 Talk.
Hail, hail, and welcome to Tic Talk with the Carluke Shamrock Celtic Supporters Club. This session is being recorded on Monday, the 3rd of September 2012. If you want to find more information about the club, that's at carlukeshamrock.com. And of course, ourselves and all the other Celtic family podcasts are on hailhailmedia.com. Now, my name's Richard, and I'm glad to say from the club tonight, first of all, on the panel we have
Peter,
Kevin,
Johnny.
Did you forget your name there? You try to read it off that sheet. You are bad.
No, he's reading his horn.
He's reading his Now, Johnny, are you suffering? Are you forgetting your name because of the Paul Larkin book launch here on Saturday night?
5 minutes ago.
Aye,
2 days.
the listeners did they know? The listeners don't know this. Suffering big time. Did you enjoy it?
It was great, aye.
Aye, good crack.
Actually, I listened back to the sing song on the way home in the bus. I can't remember that, actually. In fact, I don't even hear my voice, Kevin, but I hear yours.
Oh yeah, no, I do
He's
definitely
very
don't hear
loud.
mine.
You
I
sure
was
now?
saying I was sleeping in the back row.
No,
Thought it was the movies on a Saturday night.
Who do you think was banging the window?
That was probably
that
me.
was
Aye,
you.
see, that sounds more like me. Don't sing but bang the windows.
What I
aye.
did, I heard somebody saying he's a driver, a Sevco fan.
Oh yes, aye. I'm not going to name names. What happens in the taxi stays in the taxi.
He was actually.
Aye, so you enjoyed the night, and
was
you
great,
found out, and you have done previously actually, you've got a connection with the author as well, Mr. Larkin.
Aye, that was a strange one. We went to the Hibs game. Kevin, that day I came home with you. I'm not with Jason.
What a day we visited David Murray's Charlotte
That's
Square
that-
offices with the
that
Carluke
very
Shamrock
day.
banner.
Allegedly.
I'm in the back seat of the car with my usual bottle of Lanarkshire. Jason's got a couple of beers, so I'm talking my usual garbage, and Jason's just letting me blather on. He's telling me he's going to meet this guy, this Paul Larkin. So I've come out with I'm like, Paul Larkin, big Celtic fan for Edinburgh. I'm saying, see, when I was a boy, I used to go to the fit with my dad. I hope Paul doesn't take offence to it.
No, I'm sure
He says, my dad would always say, they're your ma's crazy cousin for Edinburgh. Honestly,
It's always
I always
the ones
remember
we
this. So I was saying this to Jason, and they're like, oh, shut up, there must be a million Larkins. And it turnmed out,
Right enough.
that's who it was, aye.
Ah, small world.
It
Yeah,
certainly is, aye.
boys.
So we had a few pints in Pierce's
Aye.
in Leith before the game.
Good man. And then met up with him on Saturday night as well.
Aye, I blathered away, well I can't really mind much about what I said on Saturday night, but
And Kev, can you remember much? You met a few internet bump on Saturday night.
Everything before 7 o'clock. No, I thought I was fine until
You
I
were
had a
no
fresh air.
bad. Aye, we've seen you worse. We've definitely seen you worse.
I know it was a good night. I thought Paul spoke quite well, and obviously you get some good video snippets. So they're
Yes, aye, we'll mention
they're now on
that later on as well, yep.
on the YouTube site. So,
So you could remember what happened?
MD that wants to not be recognised has lost that anonymity now.
It's gone. We've
So
blown them.
thankfully I wasn't one of them, so I'm quite happy with that. So no, it was a good night. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Definitely. Now, talking internet bampots, we are in esteemed company tonight. We've got the posh guys are in town. Celtic quick news. As they say. Great to have you guys. So let's go around the table. We have
Tommy,
Danny,
Chris.
good lads. You've been in Carluke before at all?
sadly, aye.
I've got family from Carluke.
Oh, no way.
No way.
Oh, you're a dancer. Right, well, I think we'll keep that to off
one of
here.
them might actually talk quite a few of you.
Oh, God. Really,
John
aye?
Dawson.
Oh, I
PE teacher? Aye. No way.
He battered me many a time with a medicine ball.
He was my teacher at St Edmunds, aye.
Talk about a small world, that's mental. God, there you go, John Dawson.
Because Mark was the year above me at school. He was in your year, was he not?
Aye.
Mark Dawson.
Aye.
And it was Edward was his big.
Paul, was it Paul?
You know.
Paul's the eldest, then there's Steph and Mark, and then Colette.
Right.
You're going to bump into Steph quite a bit. He's a postman at Parkhead.
He's working up in Easterhouse. But I know he does the football now and again.
Right. He was the one of the ones stopping you, putting your leaflets out on
No.
Saturday, was he? Right, that's my nice wee segue in there. You notice that, Danny? And the leaflets, of course, which is Wee Oscar for Life. And that's why we've got these guys here, because we really want to highlight the kind of events that these guys are doing and talk about the full story. But before that, let's jump into some Celtic chat. Tommy, a wee draw there. Celtic 2, Hibs 2. What were you think yourself just kind of after the game? And have you maybe even changed since then? You different thoughts about?
No, I was obviously disappointed. It was my birthday on Saturday. I was hoping for a 3-pointer, but
Right.
looking at the team we had it and blooding a few youngsters and stuff like that, I didn't get to the game to be honest with you, but I watched it on the internet.
Right.
I thought they played quite well. Should have been out of sight in the first half, but usual post, not take their chances.
Aye.
Allowed the Hibs to come back into it if you what I've seen. But no, I wasn't too disappointed at the end
Feel
there.
okay about it, all things considered?
I consider them, but a few young players out there, young Waterloo again.
Aye.
I think it's could have been a game for like some McGee up and stuff like that if he hadn't been injured, obviously.
Aye.
But hopefully look forward to seeing the new players as well. So,
Yep, and you boys
not
that
too
were there.
disappointed, no.
Good man. Danny, were you surprised at the start when you seen the team lineup?
I was surprised to see Watt playing the Sammy role.
Were you?
For a start out in the left.
The actual positioning?
Was it right? Left, right?
Yeah, I think
It was
it
right,
left.
wasn't it?
Was he wearing the...
He kind of started in the centre. and
I
then
thought he
went
started in
right.
the centre with Hooper.
Yeah, I don't think he did at all. He seemed to put out the wide all the time.
He likes to play
He
his
didn't look
4-3-3 line in now, where he plays. He was kind of Forrest and Watt, you're kind of right,
Yeah.
like, and Hooper's in the middle.
Forrest and Watt, definitely. But
I thought
we just ran alright in the first half. Game should have been out of sight. Game should have been done by half time. Missed some good chances.
Aye.
To name Watts and the cracking play to Hooper Cedar. Half the post was outstanding football, but other than that, a bit disappointed at the end and felt a bit sorry for the young boy coming on in the place of Onyama.
Aye.
He looked a
was
wee bit
kinda
out of sorts.
left out there, wasn't
he?
he?
Shell shocked about it all.
Aye.
He actually
The
looked.
boy, that was it, Irvin.
Jackson Irvin.
Jackson Irvin.
That's
He looked a
right.
bit shell shocked.
Yep.
Any of the
Last 20 minutes I thought he played alright.
Any of the rest of the young players that have come in, like McGee last season and Watt this season, they've all kind of seamlessly moved
Aye.
into the team. He looked a wee bit out of his depth, I thought. It probably just comes with his first touch. His very first touch in the game was a heavy touch, and it was kind of one of the ones where he put it between 50-50, even 60-40 against between him and the attacker, and the boy just went through, and I just, after that, he just didn't really settle down. He was always next,
Is
and
he
he
not
got it.
centre half, the big laddie, Jackson Irvin?
I'm not
Playing in
sure.
the midfield,
He
don't
plays
he?
centre half.
I mean, that's a tall order for him.
Was
to
it
throw
him
in
that
the
came last
midfield.
season? Was he
No,
the same
no,
player?
that Marcus.
That was Marcus.
Marcus
Aye,
Fraser.
He came on in the Inter Milan game in the second half and played centre half.
It didn't help.
right.
It didn't help that there was nobody in the midfield to play. So there wasn't an experienced man next to him. It was a young boy. It didn't help him, if you know what I mean. But he also could have became a hero at the finish. I don't know if you remember. It was him that
Aye,
ballooned the
he
ball.
was-
Could have made it
He
three.
should have scored.
Should have
Back
scored.
post, aye.
You know what I mean?
Chris, you expecting more of this? Was it too heavy in the youngsters? Was that just because of all the injuries and stuff?
I think at the moment we're obviously in a situation where, barring an absolutely major disaster, we're going to win the league by the length of Gile Street.
Right.
I don't think there's many Celtic supporters that would disagree with that. So we have an opportunity just now where, especially with qualification for the Champions League, where you're wanting to make sure that your more established, better players are going to be fit and ready to play in the Champions League games. It gives you an opportunity, like on Saturday, to introduce youngsters. Obviously, Neil Lennon's hand was forced because of the number of injuries that he's got as well at the moment. But I actually thought, I mean, as the guys have been saying, I thought the first half Celtic played some cracking stuff. I thought I was really, really impressed with Twardzik. But I felt that he was really helped by Wanyama's presence.
Victor.
And also for somebody who's so young, Wanyama also seems to be able to have an influence on those round about him.
Sure.
When Wanyama went off at half-time, not only did we lose his attributes, his strength and so on, but we also lost the effect that he was having in Twardzik.
Aye.
You know, and obviously Hibs came into the game more and more in the second half. But I think we're going to get games like this just now. I mean, I think most of us at the moment, if you could pick what's your priority, at the moment the Champions League for us is the priority.
Sure.
You know, we can pick up in the league in January, February or whatever. You know, at the moment for me it's just a case of ticking things over until we find out what happens with the qualifiers.
Right, and giving
That's
these
a
young guys their chance
Yeah,
and stuff
I would-
and see
I
how
would-
they go on.
Yep.
Aye, good
That's
man.
unless you get the last 16 in the last 8. In the last 4 in the final.
Well, if you get the last 16, the last 8, would you sacrifice the league?
Why?
I would.
Other side.
Aye.
You certainly look at you look at the team, and Big Wanyama's just a bit of a midfield enforcer, isn't he? I think we badly lose something when he plays centre back. And I thought for a while, if we weren't going to sign him at centre back, that he would just be an actual person to go in there. And I'm glad we've got some options there now because he's much more effective in the midfield.
Aye.
His presence, as you said, albeit he's only 21, he's just got a presence about him because he's physical attributes,
Aye.
and he can play. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
aye.
he's had a real good chance to score, and the goalkeeper made a good save. To be fair, he should have buried it. But when you look at that, and I think it is going to be a common theme. I think you look
Aye.
at Inverness the week before, they went up there, and it was a young team, and I think we were all getting out the cars thinking, well, I certainly was. We've maybe made too many changes coming up here, because traditionally it's been always difficult to go up there. We spoke, I know we did, Johnny, when we were getting out of the car, and they won quite comfortably. And I think traditionally we've suffered coming back from European games on the Saturday or the Sunday. It's always been quite a tight match, and I think you can actually we'll change things before games this season as well, before European matches, so that we're getting the double. Whereas you can rest players afterwards, but you can also rest them beforehand, which we've never had the liberty to actually do.
Exactly. It's always too nervous with the kind of close competitors. Okay, Johnny, guys that stood out for you?
The weekend.
Aye. A
Big-
few nice
big
moves
one-
as the
big
boy
one
says.
Yama, before he went off. I thought Gary Hooper, I think he's going back out to his game.
Think so?
Unlucky. Two great efforts. One off the crossbar, one off the post. That was a good move. I think somebody mentioned that earlier, the cross in for Lustig.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Gary Hooper had a good game. I thought maybe Adam Matthews, I think that's probably the worst game he's had for Celtic.
Caught out quite a lot.
Aye, getting nutmegged in the box for the goal.
Yep.
But it was hard. There's a lot of changes, and the young laddie, Twarjek, he had a good first half. I thought he fell out in the second half again. That would be when Yama getting off.
Aye, he's a guy say.
But we should have won. I mean, when you look at the chances, he missed a good chance as well. Paddy McCourt had a good chance. And it could have been four. It could have been four in the first half. But when Yama in the first half and Gary Hooper for me stood out Saturday.
Quite happy with you boys.
Just shows you the difference. I didn't think Gary Hooper. I thought he played hot and cold.
Oh,
I thought
right.
he was on wee watts back all the time. There was a couple of times in the second
Aye,
half.
there was a lot of
and
chat.
He just seemed to be nipping at him and
I was surprised by
giving the
that.
ball in, and I thought that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had a chance that he hit the bar and then they won the header at the front post, and they were great moves and great movement from him. But I think there was other times when he just looked disinterested. And sometimes he's like that, but that's maybe just symptomatic of a goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? He just wants to get the ball in the 18-yard box and be able to. And get back to what shouldn't he be playing that wide position coming in? He's a centre forward. He knows where the goals are. As soon as he gets it, there's only one thing in his mind: coming for that wide position.
He also had a chance.
He's a goal scorer.
Aye.
Coming for that position, it doesn't work. Whereas Samaras isn't a goal scorer. His natural inclination coming for the wide is to get in and cut it back or drive it across goal. And that's the difference in them coming in for that same position. I just don't think it works with Watley.
I don't know how you feel about Watt, but I was saying on Saturday, you should shout me down, you're kind of similar ages as me.
Excuse me.
Oh, whoa, whoa. These CQN boys are only 18 tonight.
Well, me and Johnny will speak about this.
This is what being an internet bandpod does to you.
Is that video camera?
Tony Watt, I think he's the most exciting striker we've had since Charlie Nicholas. He reminds me so much when Charlie Nicholas broke into that team.
That sort of reminds me of George Cadet.
Well, I'm saying homegrown. You know, I can remember Charlie coming into the team and the big. And I think Tony Watt's a similar type of player. He doesn't want to pass the ball. He's not interested in passing the ball. Shot. And the game on Saturday was the exact same as Inverness game. When you think about it, they could have been out exciting the first Inverness game. They put the ball in the net. That was the difference.
Right.
You could have been 4-0 up at half time, and
Different
a completely
story.
different conversation we're having tonight.
Sure.
And I think you need to get used to this younger team, because I was reading today that we've drawn Wraith Rovers today. We've got 5 games, I think.
November.
Aye, that's right. It's in a
Two
real
week
short period.
or something.
Aye.
It's not even a 2-week period.
In fact, one of the boys was asking on Twitter today, when's the league getting extended? Remember those days? So I think we're going to put an application form in for that. Tommy, see when the guys are talking about positioning and stuff, one of the boys was mentioning today about McCourt and how, because he's so skillful with his feet on either side, they felt that when he's pushed out in the wing, he's really kind of lost. He's not got the speed to be in the wing, and they would prefer him to be in the middle, behind, whatever target man you've got there, Hooper, whoever else. Would you go along with that? Is that how we should be playing him, or?
To be honest, I've not really seen enough of McCourt myself, but
Right.
any time I've seen him, I think he looks good. when he was in the middle, if he's had like maybe like Wanyama, Ledley, Kyle or somebody, a couple of people behind him, he's take away the pressure of having to track back.
Right.
But I don't know, I quite liked him when he played for him. The only couple of times I've seen him, he was on the kind of wing, and I felt he'd done really well on there. I think you'd maybe need to see him, maybe like a few league games, play him in the hole behind a couple of strikers or one up front. We're bringing the extra guys in now, the two strikers we've got as well, hopefully.
Exactly.
We've got the options of going just like one up front as a target man, where I don't think we've really had that before, like the last couple of seasons anyway. Been reliant on Samaras maybe playing up front. I think Samaras has looked better now that he's been out wide, and he's more a football player than a striker, I think.
Exactly.
But I would like to see McCourt maybe gain a chance, like cup game, something like that, maybe behind one striker or behind two. Just, I think he's got a good pass on him, he's got good vision on him as well.
Well, exactly. And maybe a wee quick dribble will just suddenly unlock something that you're not seeing. Any of you guys going to go with that, or are you thinking something else?
Happened Saturday, because he actually looked as if he was playing at the tip of a kind of diamond.
Right.
Just behind it, between the midfield two and the sitting two and the forwards. And he picked the ball up and he went amazing. And to be honest, I don't know why he didn't stroke it home with his left peg. He tried to get his right and he put it by the post when it looked easier to slot it home. But that would have been a tremendous goal as well, because it was that kind of drop of the shoulder again, and just kept going, and it just opened up for him. I'd like to see him getting a wee run of games, to be honest.
It's hard for Paddy now, because the teams they double up on him. Whereas times he would make space for himself, they would create something, they would score some cracking goals, but you watch it now.
Is it like the McGeady days, where they just, as soon as he takes it to them...
Well, Aiden had that wee bit more pace than Paddy did.
Exactly.
I seem to think you see the shoulder going down, and then there's another man there.
Right.
Every time he comes back, there's another man.
He's committed.
I mean, and he'll pass the ball. He's a good passer, but at times he gets crowded out. I always mind the goal. The goal he scored at Love Street. He'll never get a chance to score a goal like that again in Scotland. No way. I mean, he must be about 4 or 5 players.
Aye.
And he's not got to get that now. No chance. You've seen it. They were on him. I thought Hibs actually played well. There was
some nice touches, this kind of second half almost mirrored the first half a wee bit.
Celtic's faces.
Aye. Nice to see.
Aye. Saying that, no, the game should have been done and dusted the first half. But
it's the first time for years if the Hibs team's going to park with a bit of guts.
Aye.
To be honest.
I think they took that for Wanyama going off and actually conceding that they could get it in midfield. I think when likes of Wanyama, Kyle and Ledley there, there's maybe a bit of fear with teams to kind of go up against these guys, but likes of maybe a few young boys there, they're thinking, they're not as physical, let's have a go at them and see if they can handle it.
Right.
I'm sure that's what Fenlon said as soon as he seen Wanyama going off. Have a go at this young boy. It's not his natural position.
There's going to be a hole there.
Still can't legislate for the goal they lost, the first goal. Just to say if
my player of the year, goalie.
I blame the goalie in that one.
Just a mistake, just one of those things.
Well, Lord Joseph says that to me tonight, actually.
Aye, suspect for the second one.
I would say so.
Because
you could say that, but
it was a pass into the net. Like, the guy took it.
The guy shouldn't have got in, if you know what I mean.
To that point.
The boy shouldn't have got a shot in.
Right.
I think with the first one, he should just have taken both players out personally. Just take Lustig and the Hibs player out. Just
he actually went for the ball with one hand.
He goes and stops, and I think that's what confuses Lustig, because Lustig then doesn't know what to do.
Aye.
Because you see, I've watched it back in the telly. You see Foster coming out, he then stops, and Lustig is looking at him. Right. He then comes again, and that you can't have indecision like that. You know, I would agree with
just got to come right
Old days keeper comes out and just takes everybody out in that situation. You know,
Foster's a young boy.
Still
on his
career. After his performance in Sweden, I think
he joined the club against a lot of guys in Suki End who were right against him for the whole time. And I've backed him all the time. I played goalkeeper as a boy. It's a hard position to play. It's a hard position to learn, and you never stop learning it. And they don't get to their best. Definitely goalkeepers, I even reckon, they get close to 30 before they reach their peak.
Right.
And he's got a long way to go before he goes there. And we'll see a lot of mistakes from him.
And you look at
before that time.
You look at the centre back. He's a much more experienced player, so he should be potentially taking control and command of the situation and just launching it.
I thought Lustig
games and defenders just
looked for Foster to come. I think Lustig kind of said to his basically saying to Foster, "It's your ball, come take this."
Right.
But I read somebody on the blog or on Twitter had said that as soon as that happened, just after it, Lennon got Woods done and was talking to him, and they were kind of discussing stuff as if to say to him, "No, don't whether it was, you don't know, but." I think Woods was summoned to
Oh,
Lennon
really?
just after that, apparently.
Right,
I never
okay.
seen it myself, just I read somebody saying about it, but...
Another problem you've got there is you've not got a settled defence either.
Aye.
He
Doesn't
doesn't
help.
play centre half.
No.
He's no losing it. He's no, you know, that's a problem you've got as well. He's not got a steady guy in front of him the same guy in front of him all the time. So you know, it doesn't matter who you are. And if you're playing with somebody every week, you learn their trades. You know he's going to clear that. He's just not going to touch that. You know, there's that indecision as well. You talk about turnover of players.
Aye.
That happens as well. You know.
Okay,
I'll tell you what did disappoint me Saturday, Richard.
I was going to bring this to you, actually. You turned round at the end, didn't you?
It was raging.
Fans.
Booing the team off the park.
Aye.
Who are these people?
Send them, eh?
Oh, copyright Ali McCoys. I want to know who these people are.
And the man
Peter
to know their
demands
names,
transparency.
numbers.
Peter, the boy
That's
that
it, you're
sits
getting it.
behind us is the worst.
Aye.
In the full stadium, oh, definitely. Two rows behind Sandy's pub.
He doesn't
Danny
boo, but
doesn't
that boy,
sit
he just
behind
shouts.
you.
He's
You're
not
not there,
there,
aren't you?
These folk were moaning.
18 minutes,
These
as soon as it
folk
comes
were-
18 minutes, I'm like, right, here he goes, and then he's only a rant. As long as, if it's 0-0 at 18 minutes, guaranteed.
That's him.
Rant.
There's some
See,
nuggets in there.
there was a crack on Saturday in particular. There's a Hoddit and Doddit sit behind us, about 5 rows behind us, a father and son partnership. And it's the worst Laurel Hardy you've ever seen in your life. It was that bad, my brother turned round, the Celtic team was coming out off time.
Right.
He turned round, you effing stupid. See, that's the worst off time I've seen all season, just to get these two behind us. Because every minute was just, F's sake, yeah, fucking.
All the time. Aye.
See Celtic constantly from start to finish.
Oh, for
I'd
God's sake.
personally kick them out.
Aye.
I've got a guy
deserve it.
behind me that booed Samaras coming on as a sub last season.
Aye, oh, aye.
Moin.
You just want to banjo him, don't you?
Coming up, well,
Right, don't incriminate yourself.
I mean, I can understand people criticising players. I've never understood people booing. I've never booed a Celtic team in my life and never will.
Yep.
But to boo a Celtic player coming on,
Coming on.
I mean, that was a first for me. I'd never seen that.
Rennes. You got,
No, it was a Saturday game, Dan.
no, remember the European game, midweek game? I'm sure it was against Rennes. Well, there was a fair amount of supporters booed them onto the park.
Oh, was it? Aye?
Oh, aye.
Right, there was a time
What's
last season when he got
interesting
substituted, it was
how
an
much the
ironic
support
cheer
was
when he
actually
went off.
turned
That was
down,
shocking.
even in the space of possibly 6 months,
Aye, that's right.
when Samaras was getting pelters,
Aye.
to the way that, I mean, obviously it was instigated by the Green Brigade, particularly on Saturday, but how much more support he's getting amongst the Celtic supporters, because they're obviously recognising that the guy's a player,
Aye.
you know.
See, the one thing he never does, no matter how good or bad a game is for him, he never hides.
No, he always
Aye.
looks
A
for the
lot
ball.
of players are kind of bad games, but you don't see them.
Yep.
He still tries.
He still looks for the ball.
He still
always
looks for
looks
it.
for the ball.
And
That's one thing about it.
I do always have read.
Aye. Chris, that Samaras who had a torrid time and turned things around. Kelvin Wilson, birthday boy of the day, 27, had a cracking game with the European match there. Is that another similar change? Are you hopeful that he's going to turn a corner as well? Or is there too many question marks?
I'm still to be convinced, to
Are
be
you?
honest with you, with Kelvin Wilson. I remember being up at Inverness, I think it was last season, when he had a cracking game. He looked really, really solid. He was comfortable in the ball. He was confident bringing the ball out of defence. He was confident passing it. But in the interim, he seems to have lost an awful lot of confidence. Even in Saturday, there was a case, I think it was in the first half, when he had the ball down the corner flag, and he was trying to take the ball round the attacker, and he was so pedestrian that it was quite concerning.
Aye.
I think the boy obviously needs a chance. As I said earlier on, we're in an opportunity just now where we can afford to give people...
To take the chances.
Give them around the team. Just to go back to McCourt, I've got an opinion against most Celtic supporters. I would sell McCourt in a second. I think he's had his chance.
I don't think he's good enough.
I think he's far more interested in things away from football. He's not, for me, he's not got the dedication that it takes to play for Celtic. I mean, what would we do to pull on that jersey?
Well,
You know,
exactly.
he's had that chance, and he's not prepared to take it. And for people saying he doesn't get a run in the team, successive managers have been at Celtic when Paddy McCourt's been there,
Right.
and have chosen not to give him a run in the team. Now, there's a
Right.
reason for that.
From what they've seen.
I wouldn't be playing him.
Okay,
The
doke.
Kelvin Wilson one's an interesting one. I remember that one in the first half that you're talking about, and it kind of get closed. He got closed down, and the space inside him closed down, so there was no doubt back to the goalkeeper. Well, he should just put it out. But I think the concern comes from because the fans were on his case instantaneously.
Right,
He hadn't even made the mistake, and there was murmurs in the crowd.
Right.
And I thought the European game, and I think he'll play all the Champions League games if he's fit, because I think he's the only defender we've got with any pace.
Right.
And I think that's why he was playing last week.
The new
He came
boys
in.
get pace.
Matthews has got pace as well.
Aye.
And
The new-
centre
Centre-half.
back, Charlie Mulgrew,
Nice.
and I like Charlie, but the other night it was found if he gets turned at all, he just doesn't have. See if you could put a yard or two on him. See if the sprint coaches could work with him the same way as McGeady put a couple of yards on previously.
I think that guy's away now, supposedly.
That's
French,
right.
He's a French guy,
That's
I think,
right.
the top McGeady.
But it's not so much noticeable in the domestic games, but seeing the European game last week, I thought he was certainly lacking a yard or
I
two.
agree with
And I think that's, in my opinion, that's why Wilson was playing last week. And it
Okay.
didn't. As I said that to
Well,
you in the game.
Well,
getting
they're all right
hit
with
and busting in.
Barcelona game, they
Well,
don't
saying
play
that.
fast.
Saying that,
Oh, God.
Helsingborg really had one chance in that game against us, either. I expected a lot more of Helsingborg when they came. Was that the night they come to us with fear?
Ah,
And they
strange
looked
one.
frightened.
Yep.
They looked frightened.
I never thought the tie was in any danger after the first leg.
After that first half, well, there, I was more concerned about our defence being lacklustre.
Well,
than
they had,
them.
they had three
Because we created
clear
most of the,
chances.
Had their
we created
chances.
most of the chances for them in the away game.
Aye, that's right.
By lack, we're not being able to clear the ball properly on most occasions, and it comes straight back at us.
Right.
And I was half expecting pretty much the same again at home.
We
And then
do.
I'm always sort of half empty sort of guy who comes to watch football.
This is
always
Kevin,
nervous.
by the way. Kevin, Danny.
I'm always nervous when it comes to
That's
watch
full empty. No, half
Well
empty.
empty. You spilt yours.
But I think I would think we've got history centre halves coming and no settling in their first season. I mean, you
Right.
go back as Big Elliot, Stubbs.
Aye.
I mean, there's a raft of them who came. People would have punted them after the first 6 months, and they kind of came good. Big Elliot's the typical example where they just.
They just booked him in the tunnel before he came out. That was the problem with him.
And then by the time he left, he was a cult hero. And we didn't want to see the back of him. So
That's right.
my hope, I said it in the podcast last year, that I've not entirely given up hope on him.
Right.
Had an offer come in,
Aye.
then and it was £500,000. It was £500,000 pocketed because we got him for nothing.
Sure.
But by the same token, I'm not going to give up on him, and certainly not going to boo him. When he's,
Hopefully another Samaras too
I think
then.
there was a bid coming for him. Was a bid coming from Ipswich? Sure, Ipswich put a bid
Leicester
in
as
for him.
well was
He did. There was a bid coming for him. I don't know much what it was for.
We've also said, bought a new centre half, and they could just click.
Aye,
You
he-
just-
you never know
seemingly
what's
he's
gonna
got a
come.
right good bit of pace.
So you just hope he comes in with a wee bit. I've never come across the guy before, but hopefully he's got the
And
experience.
you're not going to talk
and he
about
can
it
help
now.
control.
We're going to cut you off. You've jumped my head. So we'll
I
wind
just
up
hope that
there.
helps Wilson though, or helps Mulgrew become defender.
And it makes it just
Makes
happen.
one of them a defender.
And then we forget
A
about
good
everything.
proper defender.
Fair dues. Okie doke, boys. We'll wrap that up there.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Okie doke. Right, boys. We Oscar for life. That's the next section here. We've got these posh guys from CQN for this very specific reason. So, Tommy.
Posh? He's been Hamilton.
Oh, very posh. I don't say that. There are other towns available, so let's not go off on that tangent. When you build up this image, CQN's a gloss. That's the boys. That's the poster boys. Paul Brennan sent me a fortune to kind of pop these boys up. So, Tommy.
I thought he would have picked three better people to send me.
he did say he was struggling for squad rotation. he said something about he knows how Lenny feels. I don't know what that meant.
Really, three Kelvin Wilsons. He's like, we'll give him another chance.
It might come good. Oh, brilliant. Right, Tommy, we Oscar for life, right? Let's make sure everybody listening in knows everything about this. We'll not assume anything, they've maybe not seen things in Twitter or blogs or whatever. So first of all, who is wee Oscar? What kind of age is he? Where does he come from and stuff? And what's the challenges that he's facing at the moment?
Oscar's Oscar's one of the guys CQN's son. He's Oscar Knox. He's 3 years old and he's from Mollusk in Antrim.
Right.
So basically, since he was first born, it was Jacobson's disease. I think he was diagnosed with.
Ah, right.
So, which if you read there's got a blog about him, but basically on the blog it tells you he was diagnosed with this, and he obviously started treating that. Then they call him like kind of 10 million to 1 kid sort of thing, because the fact is he had that and he's now then diagnosed with neuroblastoma, which is like a very aggressive form of cancer. So basically his mum and dad have decided they kind of tried to go through kind of NHS and the kind of health system in Northern Ireland and Britain.
Right.
But basically they don't do the treatment
Right.
in Britain at all for these kids. So they need to go to either the USA or Germany.
Right. Is this a similar thing that fans have heard about before with Vanessa Riddle case? Right.
There's also another guy, Neve, as well.
Yes.
Neve Curry. But basically his mum and dad took it upon themselves. They didn't want to wait any longer for the health service to try and pay for this stuff or get this stuff up and running. So they decided and took it upon themselves to start the Oscar Knox appeal.
Right.
Which basically a lot of people don't know. It's only really his mum and dad and a few family friends. I think they think it's this massive team that these parents have got. So basically they're juggling that, and they've got 2 kids, Oscar obviously and his wee sister Izzy, who's 2. So basically they're juggling between their own jobs, the appeal, and try to raise 2 kids and give them as normal life as they can. So basically within CQN we had our badges and we kind of started selling them, myself and Mark, CRC,
right.
Which we raised up to £3,500 so far with just the badges. But kind of me and Mark were talking one night basically and thought, listen, this is something we want to kind of try and help out with.
Right.
And started a small campaign. It started off as a small campaign. It's now grown into obviously the guys joining us and the CQN community and obviously yourselves and other fanzines kind of adding on. So basically we've created a Twitter page, which is at @WeOscar4Life.
Yeah, good man. And the 4 life, it's the number 4, isn't it?
Number 4.
So We Oscar 4 Life, right?
Basically that's to kind of relate to stage 4 neuroblastoma.
Right.
Is where the kind of disease he's fighting.
Right.
And obviously we Oscar for his name and for like, because we want to obviously try and give him normal life as we can.
Of course.
So we've got a Facebook page, Twitter page. We've also added on, started the campaign. So on Saturday there, 35 good friends for CQN to come out on Saturday, handed out 10,000 flyers. It was also on a big screen at Parkhead, and we're kind of taking it on, trying to add kind of different nights and events to kind of hopefully raise some money.
Right. Is there a certain target in mind? Is there a magic number he's chasing, or is it just let's
basically as much as we can?
Is it?
He needs to raise £250,000.
Right.
Through our investigation into kind of paying for this sort of thing, I think you need the money up front. I don't think they take it in instalments.
Gotcha.
We're not fully heard. I've spoke to his dad several times, but they've never kind of been told definitely.
Is that right?
They're basically kind of taking it as it comes, but they're just trying to raise as much money as quickly as they can.
Right.
So far,
managed 100,000 so far.
Over 100,000 in 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
That's through just people catching on to it, doing stuff for themselves, like which me and Mark had started, basically just kind of tagging on.
Fantastic.
And now we've kind of took it a bit further, and the guys have joined us. And
just sort of take it to Celtic from them.
Yep. Great team behind us. Just gone with generosity.
When you guys go to the Twitter page, the Facebook, etc., does it all then funnel you into some kind of Just Giving page? Is that behind the kind of the back
basically,
office?
if you go into Twitter or the Facebook page, it'll link you into. We've got a Just Giving page, which is justgiving.com/WeOscar4Life again.
The same thing with the number.
Yep, number 4.
Right, perfect.
It's all on the Facebook page. It also links you into actually Oscar's appeals page.
Right.
And his blog, which will give you a full rundown of exactly what this wee boy's going through.
Right.
And shows his story from basically when he was born till now. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of the wee man with a smile on his face.
That's Johnny, if you have a wee look there, the wee man with the hoops on, playing out the back stuff with the football.
I've seen
pretty incredible, isn't
Facebook
it?
page and that, right.
Pretty amazing that the guys have kind of talking about so far 100 grand in how many weeks?
It's about just over 10 weeks, I think. That's credit to his mum and dad.
Of course, the central thing that's going on.
Basically, it's kind of people in Ireland that have kind of tagged onto this and started just doing their own nights. It's not even been anything organised. They're just people have taken it to their hearts and just kind of helped out.
Fantastic.
So, I think that's an amazing sum, but obviously it sounds a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but basically
there was also
you want to try and get
it's not even at that halfway.
Not even halfway yet, so
if you look at it that way. Yep. Danny?
They had a wee issue in Northern Ireland, a wee fundraiser in Northern Ireland at the weekend.
Aye.
And they raised almost £2,000. And the lassie's house was broken into that night, and they took £1,000 it. And then this morning, it was on the BBC website of Northern Ireland, somebody had left the money in the church.
Oh, seriously?
So they got the person's obviously felt a wee bit of guilt.
What had happened as well, but somebody had actually donated the £1,000 back. Somebody had read the story and donated that money back straight away.
Right.
So they've now, I know it sounds a terrible way to say it, but they've now made £1,000 to add to the appeal, but obviously it's tugged in a few heartstrings, maybe seeing a wee boy's video or something. And
it sounds as if it mirrors the Vanessa Riddle appeal quite closely. One of the questions I had seen
I think that makes it a wee bit more difficult though, because the Vanessa's just for the family. The Vanessa was a big appeal.
Right, it was over 500.
The Vanessa's in the world, that appeal was amazing how it worked.
Sure.
But that, I think, makes it harder for appeals following it for the same sort of thing.
Aye, a bit of that kind of charity fatigue.
Like a wee bit of that.
But also, I noticed it was the neuroblastoma. Is there a fund or an overarching charitable body or something? Is this related to that?
It's part of it. I think that's the kind of the main. It's Neuroblastoma Alliance. So obviously, to be honest, we had never heard of neuroblastoma until reading it on CQN. Basically, the guy Stephen Knox, had put a post on saying about his wee boy. Started reading into it, kind of keeping up with him on the blog, and he was in London getting treatment. And basically, this guy had to stay with Oscar in London, so he was away from his family and that. So I just kind of got up and sent him an email address and says, look, any time if you're bored or want to chat with him, because it must be hard, you know. Starting in the hospital, the wee boy was in kind of quarantine, wasn't allowed out, so he had to stay with him. So I mean, it's alone. I know he's still with the wee boy now, but it's a lonely kind of life to lead. So,
Peter, could you even imagine that with Thomas? Do you know what I mean?
I really couldn't. And have you got enough people for the wee?
Aye, so you've got this here, they're talking about the Dundee game. When's that? 22nd of September, and it's the bucket collectors outside. What's the story with that? What levels of people have you got involved? Do you need anybody else there?
Well, to be honest, we were over what we asked for.
Really?
We kind of started off, me and Mark had been through the licence process, which is still ongoing, to be honest with you, but we've been told it's definitely going to happen.
You've got to be okay.
They just need to do background checks on us, so thank God we're clean. But,
so far.
But basically we kind of we're trying to come up with numbers, so we asked for 100.
Right.
It started off slowly, but to be honest with you, in about a weekend it went for about 5-10 people emailing us to, I think we had about 60 people by the end of the weekend. We've now got 120 volunteers who will ask for 100. So that helps us, because it means we can now be like kind of supervisors on the day, make sure everything's going all right.
Aye.
We've had a generous donation for an unnamed guy, CQN,
Oh.
who's basically he's done loads already for the campaign, but he's paying for all the T-shirts, 130
right.
T-shirts for us all.
Right.
So
everybody should look out for them. Do you know what they're like? You know, if a Celtic fan's going up with the white and the green,
they're not missing.
just going to be so
plain
obvious.
white T-shirt, big picture of the wee man on the front and the Hibs,
Right.
and the wee Oscar for Life campaign on the front, and even on the back we've got Team Oscar. We've got the Just Giving page, so that if you want to walk by, you'll see it at the back is. You'll have the Just Giving page plus the Twitter link.
Just get your phone out while you're there and you're in. Excellent.
So
there you go, boys. If you're approaching that game and you can see what's going on, you know exactly what to do.
I would just like to say
Kev,
that I think Fraser missed an opportunity yesterday to run the half marathon. I mean, that would be a perfect opportunity for you.
It came too late, Kevin.
Just mention,
you were in training, but it just came too
mention
late.
a couple of events as well.
Yes, that's what's going to come on to next. That's obviously the buckets, but
the buckets.
what else have we got in the future?
Sunday we'll get one of the boys off the block, Mouldy, 67.
Right.
Who's also on Twitter, you'll probably notice, gone mental. He's doing the Glasgow to Edinburgh cycle for fundraising.
Right.
He's targeted £1,000, he's getting close to it.
Fantastic.
So if you see Mouldy on the blog or on Twitter,
right,
basically sponsor them. And the other one, I think, a big shout is Joe Ledley as well.
Oh really?
Outstanding.
Now, is the guys going out with the kind of bracelets and stuff? Have we seen that before? Is that tied in with the same thing with Oscar? Is it?
Yes.
Basically, we've got the bands now.
The wristbands. That's what.
We've got the wristbands, which basically kind of PR the kind of campaign for him.
Right.
So we got like 100 off his dad, which are now gone. I've now got another 300. Joe Ledley actually met Knoxie in London. Joe, I think he read his tweet saying he was in London, but saying he was in hospital. Don't know how it all came to happen, but basically Knoxie was able to go and meet Joe Ledley.
Oh, cool.
And Joe's basically taking the campaign to his heart. He was first got the kind of bands, he's then passed the bands on to the players.
I've seen that, aye.
He's also sent a signed top just for, they've sent stuff over for the auction and stuff like that, but Joe signed a top and sent that over for the wee man as well, so he's getting that framed and put in his bedroom wall.
Brilliant.
But going on that one, it's good the likes here get yourselves that are actually going to be doing stuff like this, the podcast, etc.
Aye, keep marketing it, keep
to be honest
talking
with
about
you,
it.
the mainstream media in Scotland's Not very helpful, shall we say.
Yes, that's a polite way of putting it, that's for sure. So we've got the buckets. You mentioned Sunday coming up as well. We'll keep talking about. Is there any other ones you want to mention just now, or do we just kind of keep them topic for you?
Well, we're going to be doing a quiz night as well on the 29th, but
29th of September.
September, yeah.
Right, okay.
So we're going to be like a kind of CQN quiz night. Obviously, MD's welcome.
Right.
There'll be stuff on the blog and on the Twitter page about that coming up.
Right.
One thing is we're restricted to about 100 people on that one.
Right.
But the main thing for us is we're going to hopefully get the bucket collection out of the way in that quiz, and then the big one's going to be in November, where we're going to have a race and auction night at Celtic Park.
That's in Celtic. Whereabouts is the quiz night going to be? Is that Celtic Park as well?
Chris, come in there.
Quiz night is going to be in the Phoenix in the Gallagate, which used to be EastEnders.
Oh yes, aye.
Just up from Bar 67.
Gotcha.
So if people go into Celtic Quick News, if they're interested in buying tickets, it'll be a £5 a head. We'll have the quiz. We're hoping to raffle some things as well.
Teams of 5.
We're hoping to
Teams of 5, right.
hoping to have an auction, and at the end of the night we're hoping to have some live music as well. So if anybody's interested, if they go into Celtic Quick News and if they email me at hamiltontim@co.uk.
Right, good man, good man. And Celtic Quick News, it's .co.uk, isn't it, for that particular site? Aye.
Gmail.co.uk for sale.
Oh, the email, or just
you just mean the blog and
if you through the wee Oscar for life at gmail.co.uk.
Right.
That's the other one we're using. That's the main email for us, I think.
Perfect.
There'll be stuff on Facebook as well through the obviously site. Obviously, it's going to be on CQN, but Twitter and Facebook will be having the kind of invitation or the kind of the option there for people to come.
Excellent.
We do have obviously some stuff to kind of auction off both nights, but if anybody wants to donate anything, we're more than happy to accept anything at all.
Please.
I even picked up a top yesterday. I just want to mention there's a guy for Celtic minded.
Oh, aye.
He's disabled, this guy. Basically, I went to his house yesterday to pick up a Emilio Azageri top. The guy got it handed to him when he was in hospital having his leg amputated.
Oh my God.
So basically this guy had heard about wee Oscar and he's took it upon himself to do this, so it's a big thanks to the guy for Celtic minded for that. I was
That's fantastic.
very touched, to be honest with you.
It's a remarkable show of generosity.
I mean, this has come for a guy that's obviously been through a lot in his life himself, and he's obviously thinking of others, so I mean, I was very touched, to be honest with you.
Aye, definitely.
Speaking to the guy yesterday. Couldn't thank him.
Impressive stuff, Johnny. Celtic family at its best.
It certainly is.
Just what you expect.
I remember Brian telling me about the last wee girl. I can't remember her name.
Vanessa,
right. And how much money they raised in such a short space of time. It was unbelievable.
Aye.
And I think they'll crack this as well.
I just say as well, just you talking about the Celtic family there. When we were giving out leaflets on Saturday, there was a guy walked by me, took the leaflet off me, must have walked about 10-15 yards past me, then walked back, and he turned around and he was like, he was an older guy. He says, "What game's that, son?" I says, "It's a D&D game." He says, "I can't make that, I'm working." He says, "There's a tenner, going to put that in the bucket." And then there was a girl come up in a wheelchair just after that, who basically did the same thing. She was like that, because of my condition, I don't always get to the games, although I've got my season ticket. She says, so I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get there, and she gave me a £5 to add to the bucket as well. You know, the generosity of the Celtic support is just phenomenal, really is.
Aye, they're real kind of using all this stuff for the, you know, in the proper way. You know, the social media networks, everything else, the power behind it, using it the way you should be.
Can I just pick up something? Yeah. I take it all the money it's raised goes to Oscar. Is it going to
£250,000 will go to Oscar.
Right.
Whatever was raised above that, my understanding is that it goes to the neuroblastoma alliance, the same as what happened with Vanessa.
Right,
just in case people start donating to
No, if they get
alliance.
their total.
No, I mean, think we're getting Oscar's page, maybe getting, you know, trying to say.
You really why be donating to Oscar for this one? Saying that, all the kids with this deserve the exact same. Unfortunately, our government doesn't afford us all that, so.
Aye.
Luckily, this wee boy's part of the Celtic family, and his dad's part of the Celtic family, and it goes a long way.
Correct. And it's a good focal point, isn't it?
Definitely is.
Because instead of trying to save everybody here, there and everywhere, it's
I know
if you
always feels
target
as
it.
if the Celtic family's getting battered for this sort of thing all the time, but they always turn up and they're always getting counted, and they just keep doing it.
Aye,
And
exactly.
you can only thank them for it all the time. They helped us with Kano, they helped with Vanessa, they helped with Neve Curry.
The Kano
and now they're
thing's
starting up
just
this.
been
The Kano
incredible.
was unbelievable.
Aye.
Unbelievable story altogether. If you've not heard that one, look at the website.
For the actual treatment and stuff, is there good chances if we can get it for him? Is it one of those ones that's a hairline either way?
To be honest with you, speaking to his dad and stuff like that, obviously they want to try and get the treatment, and that's to help him obviously try and fight this. There's a chance, obviously, of it coming back.
Right.
If that happens, it's kind of worse than the first time, to be honest with you. But I think it's a bit like anything, you're taking a chance.
You take
but
that challenge.
It's a worthwhile cause. I mean, he's not seen the wee boy, just one look at his picture and you're just...
No harsh.
Saying that, the one thing this treatment is actually for is that when he's in remission, it's called immunotherapy, and it's to actually boost his immune system. To help stop,
to fight it.
To stop this coming back. Any time it comes back, they're hoping this will help.
He's
As the own immune system kick in.
Right,
and
perfect.
fight it in future and kill it off itself. So
Perfect.
it's really to give him a chance of fighting off for the future.
Aye.
So as it doesn't come back. So.
Okay, guys, right, so for the last time, just because while people are listening to this, they're usually at their computers or on their phone, what's the thing they should be typing in right now? The Twitter page, the blog, what's the kind of...
See, to be honest with you, if they Google Oscar Knox, they'll find Oscar's blog, which then links him to his Just Giving page.
Right.
Also links him, he's got a Peels song on YouTube. Go on YouTube, type Oscar Knox, and you'll see it.
Excellent.
I guarantee you, anybody watching it will not leave their house with a dry eye, because I've watched it several times and just... gets me every time. Also, look on Twitter. There'll be stuff on Twitter for yourselves.
Right.
At wee Oscar is actually Oscar himself, or through his dad.
Right, that's the central
That's his
bit for
Twitter one.
Gotcha.
There's also his mum and dad have got their own Twitter.
Right.
Kind of accounts and their stuff. Also, the guys do stuff as well. We've got the Facebook page.
Aye.
Likes yourselves have been so generous to kind of get us down here tonight.
Sure thing.
It's getting us out there, and the CSAs, Danny and that sorted a few things, so a lot of stuff's going on their
CSA
website.
and the Irish affiliation as well, we've got on board with it. So.
Alright, Danny, were you going to say something else?
Just one last event that's not been mentioned for any avid cyclists out there.
Oh yeah.
We're planning a cycle for Celtic Park to Newton Abbey. It's just outside Belfast.
Right.
St Patrick's weekend, March 2013.
Right,
if anyone's up for a good weekend and enjoys a good cycle, welcome to get on the website, go on the email, and give us a buzz with that, and if you want to join in, the more the merrier.
Good man, excellent. You'll keep us in touch anyway, and we can keep, putting out updates and blog links and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, anything you'll be adding events at different points, so these guys will keep us up to date. Good stuff. Thanks a million for that, boys.
I think it's just phenomenal. I think we should be saying thanks to guys like this as well, who
definitely
every fundraising needs a focal point. And I think it's amazing for you guys to be giving up your time, and obviously there's additional people in the background.
Aye.
So I think from the Celtic family, you've got to say thanks to you guys and the extended group that's involved in it.
Aye, very true.
Just encourage everybody to donate when the tins are there, and the Just Giving page, whatever's most convenient for people.
Yes.
So congratulations, guys.
Aye, well done, absolutely brilliant. So everybody listening in, you can jump onto those different links, those different pages, and remember Bucket Collectors on the 22nd of September, and that's the game against Dundee, and these boys will huckle you for your cash. Excellent, boys. Right, we'll shift on to the transfers and get your opinions there.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Right, we're back, and we're back after a wee substitution there. The Macaulay brothers have been called in by Lennon, so Kev's out and the intrepid reporter BJ Mack is in. Hello, sir.
Hail, hail.
And of course you're another mad CQNer, aren't you?
Well, I'm mad. I'm not on CQN too often. Now, I read the articles and get to see some of the posts, but not as often.
You've not been
as
banned or
what I
anything,
was
no?
previous. One of the few places I've yet to be banned
Yet
from.
to be banned, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Still time,
Magic. Right, let's jump back to some of the football chat, the transfers. Johnny boy, when it was building up and you were approaching that deadline, what was the thing you were really, really wanting? Was it the centre back? Was it the centre forward? If you had to settle for one position,
centre half and striker.
Aye, or you're greedy. You want the two.
Well, I was quite happy. I like the look of I seen a YouTube clip of the guy for Deportivo. I think his name's
Assad. Nui, or whatever it is.
Aye, it's a kind of strange surname.
I've seen him. He looks as if he can.
What height is he supposed to look bigger than?
6'3" or something, I'm sure I read.
He's going to mix up the Samaras Boo Boys, though, isn't he? Because it's a split image.
Yes,
many
like twins.
It was a good few goals. I seen him score. He did them all well. So hopefully, but YouTube, you can't tell, can you?
Correct.
The centre half, I've heard good reports of him. Bit of pace, strong.
Big Ambrose.
Aye.
Aye. So you're reasonably happy, aye.
And I heard the rating on this goalkeeper's actually a right good goalkeeper as well.
Homeboys were talking about that earlier.
About
the goalkeeper.
Aye.
And a good one.
Nonce, isn't it?
He's in loan for Nonce,
I think they suppose they rate him quite highly.
aye.
Just what you mentioned on the YouTube thing. Bangura looked great in YouTube. I'll rest my case.
There's a nail in the coffin.
Well, that's true. Aye. It's a hint of this we're signing into it.
No, definitely.
Kevin always says that on the podcast.
Aye.
See, nice boys scored against Real Madrid and Barcelona and that. I don't think Bangura's even
That's
on
not
YouTube
bad.
had scored against a decent team, so...
It's a beauty of thing. Peter, what about yourself? Once it was done and dusted, were you reasonably happy?
I was disappointed we never got a left back, actually.
Oh, were you?
I was, aye.
Yeah.
I think we need a left back.
Right.
I'm not too sure about Azagiri. I really don't.
He's no the Azagiri we had.
He's no,
is he?
no defending. That's the problem I've got at the moment.
On that point, I was reading something yesterday, sorry for interrupting, but there was something saying that between ourselves and Borussia Dortmund, the Polish left back, I think it's Bosnic, or no Bosnic, but it's something like that.
Right.
He's out of contract, and supposedly rumours are we're looking at him as well, but whether it happens, obviously,
Aye.
Like for Champions League, but he had to be signed today for the Champions League, so even if you sign him.
Well, Danny's got us into the last 8 earlier, so does that not count?
Should have said last 4 and final.
last 4. Wembley, here we
I'm
come.
going with the Brigade ban off the weekend.
1 minute you had your eyebrows up at Chris talking about we'll win the league, no bother. The next minute we're in the Champions League final.
That's because we'll be concentrating on the
Is that what
Champions League.
it is?
Can I be honest, Danny, I just want him to get Champions League experience and then
Aye,
hit it
I know.
next year, because the
I know.
final's in Lisbon.
Yes. That could be a
Stadium
fairy
National.
tale.
We don't want to go to England, we could go there any time.
You want another trip, weren't you?
Nice if we go to
chance
England and all wreck it.
Aye, well, exactly. Chris, what were your thoughts? Transfer window, once it was done?
I was happy.
Aye.
If you'd said to me on Friday morning where I would have liked us to have strengthened, it would have been at centre half and centre forward.
Right.
I haven't actually looked at the clips on YouTube. I've deliberately ignored them because, as Brian says, I think sometimes they can be quite deceiving.
Aye.
When you watch it and your expectations either go up or down depending on what you see.
Exactly. Danny even looks good on YouTube, obviously.
No, we take that too far.
Is that different, Danny?
So to get two centre forwards,
Aye.
I'm pleased with. For a guy who scored 2 goals against Real Madrid last season, he can't be a mug.
Exactly.
I think we were very, very short. I've been quite dubious about the contribution that's been made by Hooper for quite some time, and Stokes. And I actually agree with Tommy. I've never really bought into this whole thing with Izagiri. I think he would be a brilliant left midfielder.
Right,
But
okay.
for me, even in his first season, and I think we saw that at Inverness 2 or 3 games before the end of the season when you two up there with a chance of winning the league, and he possibly cost you 2 out of 3 goals that night. And I think for me all that season, his strength and his pace got him out of holes that other players wouldn't have got out of.
Right.
But a lot of people, for me anyway, were deceived into thinking that he was a better left back than he actually is. I would like to see him getting a game in left midfield.
Ah, right. Is that what you want to do with him, Peter? You want to push him up a wee bit?
Aye.
And try him there?
They did try it in a European game. I don't know if you noticed, they played 3 centre-halves. And they were playing with 5 in midfield, so that gave him a bit of cover.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
He's got that protection.
Well, over in Helsingborg, I was screaming at the TV.
You always screaming
Oh,
at
you
TV.
always
You're a screamer.
Even
See
during
our
the
first
adverts.
half, I'll be honest, see our first half, I phoned your Brian. I phoned him. I said,
It must have been
I'm
bad.
not even want to go in the Champions League with this team. What are they like?
That's one step away from the Samaritans.
I couldn't believe it. They weren't playing a holding midfield player. And that's where all the problem was. And the 3 midfield players were Brown,
Kyle and
Kyle and Lett. They were marking each other. There was none of them, you know. And so, that's a Geary, he was wandering up the park and there was nobody covering for him. I don't know. That's a Geary, no.
It's stressful.
In all fairness, he got a bad injury.
He did.
Correct.
He did.
And do you is he still, when you see him, is
Well,
he
I'll
still
tell you
thinking about
that,
it?
was
Is
it
he
the
cautious?
Helsingborg game, somebody clattered him, the substitute came on and hit him right away.
That's right.
No, you seen his reaction when he was lying down on the ground and you're saying to yourself, was that bad, or is he worried that this injury's got to play up every time he gets tackled?
Right.
It's psychological.
Aye.
But I actually thought he was a great player. I know you didn't.
Oh no, I do. I think he's a cracking player, and I just don't think he's a left back.
Aye, gotcha.
I think he got the system kind of got caught out. So a lot of the times, and it happened at Tannadice last year as well, where he was pushing up, pushing on, and we're losing goals because there was no cover
Space
behind him.
Right.
And so either someone in midfield's got to cover, or one of the centre backs has got to pull over and cover. To me, that's a system rather than the actual individual. So I don't know. I wouldn't put it all down to Izzy. I know what you're saying. He does.
Because that was similar that night at Inverness, wasn't it? That was.
But Neil Lennon's got
out of position twice, didn't he?
He's got to decide whether he wants to play with a whole midfield player or no. And I think that's the way he shapes his team. We've got to play with a whole midfield because he plays with two wide men who are pushing forward all the time. He's encouraging his Matthews and Azagiri to push forward all the time.
Right.
You've got to have somebody covering. And your midfield seem to be pushing it in their box as well. And the boys just getting battered out. We're left with two centre halves.
Right. Gotcha.
He is a shadow of the player, though he was. And as you said, Chris, he got himself out of a lot of holes with his speed.
Right.
And he's lost that. To me, he's lost 2 or 3 yards.
I would agree with what you were saying as well. That I noticed that the other night as well. That there seems to be a kind of more of an apprehension about him now when he's getting into tackles and challenges. Is he worried that he's going to get a recurrence of the injury, or that he's going to break down or whatever?
Sure.
And that's obviously going to put the kibosh in his career. You know,
because remember, obviously, when Larson came back and he was out there and took a cracker, and
first
he
game.
was just up.
Yeah.
Because he's still got his strength, because he done that live for one of the goals up at Inverness. I was right in line with it.
Just a wee nudge.
Saying about again, the guy gets substituted. And he crossed it. I can't remember what goal it was, the third goal. The one that Matthews should have scored and ended up going back for what?
Right.
Third.
Aye. Right, let me push you into the kind of Champions League draw, because you mentioned some of the games there, obviously, going back to Helsingborg and what have you. Tommy, when you were kind of seeing the draw, what were you up to? Were you watching it all on Twitter? Were you staring at the
watching
screen?
my phone at work.
Were you? Aye.
But
the excitement's back. Did you like that? You know what I mean? It's been a long time.
It's better than listening to the Ramsden's Cup music. You know what I mean? So, listen to an ice cream van for that stuff. But,
twist the knife. Twist the knife.
The better wear man's at the door.
That's next. We'll move on to them.
No, but okay, it's exciting to sit and see the teams. Obviously, you're kind of watching the Real Madrid group come out and you're thinking, I want to avoid that.
Aye.
But looking at it, initially I wanted the Arsenal group, to be honest with you.
Well, did you?
You can see that coming out. I thought we'd probably have a better chance of getting out that group. But
right.
I think if the teams have got there, I mean, I know it's going to sound silly, but watch Barcelona the other night against Real Madrid and that. And obviously, not saying we're like Real Madrid, but there's vulnerabilities there that I think we can take kind of like chances with. Like there's the centre backs and stuff like that. Probably, to be honest with you, I know Piqué's a class player, but
sure,
they played the other night just as bad as our centre backs were playing. To be honest with you, so
I think this guy must have changed the system, because they don't seem to be hunting
I know
backs.
it's fluent, I don't think, and defensively, I mean, they played Mascherano at the back. It's kind of obviously the same, but we push Wanyama back. I don't think it's the same player when he's playing at the back.
Right.
They were caught out with just a couple of punts up the park, basically, long balls over the top. And I think we should take a lot of heart for that, to think, well, we could actually do something against them.
Right. Home and away.
I don't see why not. I mean, to me, I would just go and enjoy these games.
Aye.
I think they're there to be enjoyed, and it's a learning experience for the likes of Watt and that, if he gets his opportunity. Whether he will now, with obviously the other two forwards come in.
Sure.
But I don't know, I'm not scared as maybe he could have been, but
I
think the games are there to be won. Obviously, it's Barcelona, I mean, you've got to take your hat off to them, best team.
Sure,
there, but
sure, definitely.
I don't know, I just go out and enjoy it.
I think the group hinges virtually in the first game. If we go after a flyer against Benfica the year then,
you need to win your home game.
If we don't win that, you're then chasing your tail.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the home game, first game, the home game, last game. That gives you a great chance.
Who is the last game?
Spartak.
Spartak. So that could be a kind of decisive for us.
Exactly.
First or second.
I think it's just good to have your first game at home in the Champions League, get points on the board, and give yourself a chance to get to your last game.
It's good if you get the points.
And if it's at home, I think we can write it off. Taking anything for Barcelona, to be honest with you. I think you could completely write it off, but I also think Spartak and Benfica can write it off too. I think they'll go win all the games. And then it's,
right,
that's
okay.
what I like about it. You're then in the mix with all two. And if you can take your home games all two and grab a draw away, you've got a chance.
My concern, I don't think Barca have that great a record over in Russia.
See, you ever
my
like to
concern.
play them December time, they more Benfica. Celtic Park.
Get them
It's
in a
just
blustery.
unfortunate that it's Moscow were playing at that time.
Right.
So they're not
Good
allowed
old
to.
Scottish weather, you know.
Moscow aren't allowed to play at that time of year as well because of the weather. So their last game's going to be
Going
away.
to be away.
Oh, right,
So that's
okay.
how we end up with them at Parkhead.
And Benfica, they've sold their best player as well, so that's nice.
Garcia.
There's opposite, I think there's Zenit or something that runs for one of the other players. I think the Russian league's still open. I think they can.
Yeah,
That's
They
right,
could
windows
lose
are all
another
different.
player. Fingers crossed.
They just signed the guy for 39 million.
Who's that?
39 million pounds.
Zenit?
Zenit's in Pierre. Hulk. For Porto.
That's another get back to the draw. I watched it on Sky
Did you?
and I didn't know who was in any of the groups until they put it up at the end because they done the draw and they were telling you who was in groups,
Right.
but they never actually saw who were the groups were at the end. So really, I could tell Real Madrid was a cracker.
Right.
I could tell even the Barcelona Group G was a cracker before we get put in it.
Right.
But I was like, what are the rest of the
What's
groups? I
going
didn't know. I didn't have a clue.
Ah, right, okay.
So I really didn't watch it on Sky. Didn't have a Scooby what was going on.
Where you were. Chris, what's your thoughts? What you kind of hoping for? You relaxed about it?
I'm looking forward to it.
Aye.
I think it's a fantastic challenge for such a young team. I know Tommy's saying about the possibility of
Peter.
going to Liz.
Peter,
Peter, sorry.
I'm Tommy.
That's Tommy. You came with Tommy.
I know, you came with me.
No,
What?
no,
Jesus.
no,
We
I'm
brought
hope
Peter.
to leave him.
Oh!
He wouldn't be last in Carluke. He's too pretty.
I'm the only one to see you in here anyway.
Hey!
Tell you a tram outside.
A tram or a tranny.
I think it's a great one.
Focus, man,
No,
focus.
you've done the other one. It's a great opportunity. I think what a learning experience
Aye.
for a lot of these young guys. Personally, I was wanting a few different teams. I would have loved, before the draw was made, I would have loved to have got Man City. I would have loved to have got Real Madrid.
Right.
I think this
So
gives it.
Barcelona's getting a bit bored.
It's not. No, it's not born. But
I know
it's,
what you mean.
it's
I know
a
what you
team.
mean.
It's a team now in the last 10 years that we've seen several times at Parkhead. You know, personally, I would have preferred to get somebody different. Now that the draw's been made, I think it gives us an opportunity. Obviously, Barcelona is going to be everybody's favourites. You would expect them to win. I would probably say the majority of their games, but I think it actually gives us a possibility of either finishing second, or if not, then getting into the Europa League, which again would give us football after
Exactly.
Christmas.
Because that's what helped the young guys last season. You know,
Yep.
these guys have spoken about that a lot. You know, your Rangers game and what have you. It's really an amazing experience for them, as you said.
I think I'd
Steps
rather
them
get in
up.
the Europa League after.
Would you?
I would.
You think
Aye.
what?
I think I'd rather get in the Europa League. I think I'd rather finish third. It's finished in the last 16. Cause last 16 we'll not go any further. I think you've got a chance in the Europa League if you get into that.
Get a longer
Last
run.
16 for me.
Last 16
Aye.
for me.
I think the prestige.
Aye, prestige, aye.
To go into a group where you've got Barcelona, Benfica, and Moscow, if you were to qualify from that, the boost that these young guys would get would be absolutely phenomenal. I know what you're saying certainly in terms. Peter Law, no doubt, will be sitting saying, "Listen, I'd be more than happy to take Europa League football after Christmas because the finances generated by it are going to be greater."
There isn't
Yeah,
that big a
say,
difference.
what's the difference between
I would
last
say you'd
16
maybe get
and
money in the
Europa?
Champions League, to be honest. If you get in
You
the
need
last
more. You need quite a few games in the UEFA because you get what £3 or £4 million for qualifying in the next stage. So it takes.
And the gate money. Because you've got to get Real Madrid or Man City.
Yeah,
or
well, you're
something.
going to get a
Philip
big.
Game, a big team.
You've got to
I'll shut up.
Aye, well, we've got to focus on getting your best results, and the best result was last 16
Right.
for Celtic, prestige-wise, for the club. No giving a monkeys about Scotland, but for the club and for us, the fans. I think the last 16's a biggie.
And do you know what? Look at when we got Milan in the last 16. We took
could
them
have-
the
we could
extra
have
time. We deserved one, possibly two penalties over there. One was an absolute stone wall.
And if we win the,
Maldini, was it? He almost caught it.
if we win the group, we get an easier draw as well.
God.
So, in that note,
That sounds about Wembley and Lisbon.
Aye, that's right. Get all covered.
I just may add, we're unbeaten away from home in Europe this year.
There you go.
Yeah, another thing.
Let's continue that
not
one.
just
what's the
unbeaten,
goal in
100%. Right?
100%. Aye,
What's the goal in
correct.
Europe?
Lost
No.
1-1.
It's not away from home.
One
Away from home.
They were the most convincing winners of the qualifiers, I know, by the way. Other rest of the games
Aye,
were
when you
quite
see the
close.
others. Aye.
No, they weren't. I think they won PSG, Saint-Germain, they won about 14-0 or so.
Go on, so.
Yeah, they did. They slaughtered a team. 9-0 or so.
Was that not
No,
the first?
that was,
That
that
was
first
it.
three?
Aye.
No, other games were
That was
close.
the qualifier.
Right, boys, let's wrap it up by getting into Shambolic.
Shambolic.
Right, guys, Shambolic. So this is where we kind of go off the beaten track, and I just throw you a wee keyword or a key phrase, and you can run down memory lane if you say I've still got that working. And the phrase I gave the boys was Euro teams arriving, because we've just spoke about that there, the Champions League, who's coming up, who's the big teams, what's going to happen, when's the dates, when's the home one, when's the last game, all this kind of stuff. So going back over the years, the build-up, not the actual game itself as such, but what was the one you felt at the time, oh, I cannot wait for this one to happen, for whatever reasons, might have been football, might have been the prestige, there might have been a certain player, you know, so that's the one you have to kind of run with, any way you want at all, any weird ones or any kind of obvious ones. While the boys are thinking about that, the guys at the start were obviously talking about the Paul Larkin book launch, so what we did was Tic Talk done its first ever video cast. And we released that this morning. We've had some brilliant feedback about it. But if you've not seen it, if you go onto YouTube, and it's the Hail Hail Media channel, so youtube.com/Hail Hail Media, and you can catch up with all the internet bampots that are there with some
You're
good
better
fun.
watching that with your eyes closed.
You really should. The video was a bad idea now, wasn't
very
it?
bad idea.
We thought about it. Actually, see when you hear the singing at the end, audio was a bad idea. But that was Johnny's fault.
Aye, I'll take blame for that.
You and-
Aye,
you-
Key
you
was
and
a bit
Higgins.
out. Was it Kevin that started it?
No, it was Higgins.
He
Oh,
says
was
he
it?
wasn't singing, but his voice is in it.
Oh,
Aye,
you
Kieran's, you
can-
can hear Kieran's.
Definitely.
Aye.
He's not a bad singer.
Well,
See,
aye.
he knows all the words.
Aye.
We were all over the place.
That's
By
a
the
good
way-
one if you know the words. Aye.
By the way, we done well with the words.
Wait a minute.
Don't you dare say you
Ah,
didn't.
yeah.
When do you ever get a minibus?
I heard 4
Pretend to be
different
blowing it,
verses in the one.
wrecked,
Aye.
singing the right words, one verse.
One verse.
Never.
There was quite a few verses, Viva La Quinta, wasn't there? We got through
Was it?
quite a few of them. Oh,
Well,
aye.
I don't know.
Aye, I know, I can't pin it all. All these drunken idiots singing. Come
Aye,
on,
it
man.
took Richard 8 hours of editing to get that one
Aye.
verse right. Out of the 8 he sang.
It was one half decent verse. Brilliant.
Tell you, they should have got the sack, but
Who's that?
the makeup artist.
Oh, that's, come on now. That's better.
And the interviews were done in the toilet, is that right?
Allegedly.
No comment.
Allegedly, we were forced into
We got some funny looks, the three, me, Richard and Paul Larkin walking out the toilet with a video camera.
That was, aye, that
Bit
was
dodgy.
quite dodgy.
I was alright with Chevchenko, right enough, that was okay.
Aye, you seem quite at home there.
Aye, we're quite happy with that one.
Brilliant. Right, Tommy boy, Europe. Is there any big ones in the past you thought, can't wait for this one coming, you know, for a certain player, a certain team you hadn't seen before, or just one of those special nights at Parkhead?
Well, it's AC Milan a few seasons ago. Just I always liked Maldini. I'd never been
Ah.
lucky enough to get a ticket or anything for any of the games.
Right.
And my brother-in-law got a chance of a ticket.
Uh-huh.
Went to see, and I got to obviously see him live. But the kind of thing is slightly going away from football. The only thing, the most thing I remember about it is we were in several pubs beforehand.
Right.
So we were a bit worse for wear going to the game, and we came out, and I said to my brother, like, we need to make a sprint for here. Traffic was mobbed, huge crowd, you know, people were going to the game, and I sprinted between two cars. He hesitated and went for the next two, and unbeknown to him, the guy was towing the other guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Face first down London Road, and everybody turned round and looked. And as much as I remember seeing Maldini, that's my highlight of European football at Celtic.
That is perfect for Shamboli. You've been face down many a time in the Gallagher, haven't you, John?
Many.
But we'll not go down that road tonight. Danny boy, any big ones
I
that
go
stick
back
out for
to-
yourself?
Rapid Vienna. I call it an away game because it was in Manchester. And as a young lad, it was just the whole build-up to that after all the hassle at Parkhead. And a great night at Parkhead, we absolutely destroyed them.
Uh-huh.
And just my old man saying to me, I'm taking you down to Manchester.
Is that right?
And it was like bus after bus after bus getting down the road that day.
Was it?
Oh,
Just
it was
convoys?
Just convoys of buses, it was absolutely brilliant. Down to
Excellent.
Manchester, then the old band comes onto the park.
Right. Uh-huh.
Call them a Republican band.
Allegedly.
Came onto the park and that just made for a great atmosphere. Well, a great result. Big
Sure.
hits the post and then they got back and scored, but
Sure.
It was just a brilliant
But
occasion.
that build-up
For me,
was
as a young
superb.
boy, it was a brilliant occasion.
Aye. Was it
And
the
considering the build-up-
travelling more than anything?
I think it
Or
was-
was it all the hype in the newspapers?
I was in the jungle for the home game.
Right.
And I was the far away from where the boy was. Through the bowl that missed the guy by about 3 earths and moons and stars and whatever.
Aye.
Absolutely nowhere near him, but it's just all the build-up between the two games, all the press, all the hype, all the media,
Aye.
all the crap that was
Sure.
going in the photos of the Rapid Vienna player with the big bandage on his head, who just went in there to get the turban on. But that's what it was like. It was like a big turban they put on him.
Aye.
I mean, the bandage was halfway. It was really through his face and
Totally
his beard and stuff,
exaggerated.
but that was shocking. And just the build-up to that game was absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
And forgetting that special game, do you want to now thank Peter for throwing the ball?
Wasn't him because I know the guy.
There's
Was
an
it Tommy?
exclusive.
Say no more.
Right,
Yeah,
Chris,
yeah,
what about
I was
yourself?
discussing that.
What kind of sticks out for you if I said, Euro teams arriving?
I think if you're talking about build-ups, probably for me, one that sticks out in my mind is Juventus back in 2001.
Right. Blessed
It
Martin.
also turned out to be one of my most favourite European nights.
What a match.
Everything about the night was fantastic. But I think, if I remember rightly, it was the last game of the qualifying section. If we won,
The points and everything. Aye.
I think if we won and if Rosenborg took something off of Porto that night, then we
Right.
would have qualified.
Right.
For the first time ever that we'd been in the Champions League group stages. I remember like, for a week, 2 weeks before the game, just being like a waning Christmas morning, really, really looking forward to it. Tommy saying about watching Maldini. I'd watched Trezeguet a few times.
Oh, yes.
And was really, really excited about watching him, seeing Del Piero in the flesh as well. And it was just the build-up, the night, the occasion, the goals, the result, everything was just a fantastic
the
experience.
noise was
Oh, it just
incredible that
brilliant,
night.
absolutely brilliant. I still remember Trezeguet's shot that was disallowed, and the ball, I think it was about 6 inches off the ground, and it came right towards us, and the ball never deviated up or down. He hit it with that much power, but the relief when the referee blew the whistle to say that it was offside. But it's just a brilliant occasion. Great
Excellent. Good man.
We
Johnny
know the
boy.
best- We know the highest
Oh.
scoring points for a team to get put out.
Aye, was that the first time
Still-
that you'd
still-
got that many
anyone
points, but you
nine-
still hadn't qualified?
nine
Aye,
points,
That's
aye.
right. That was
Nine,
just
nine.
mental.
Well, I think we're the only teams that got 9
I think
points.
there was two groups behind, or two groups get through with 7 or 8 or something.
Aye.
like that year.
Aye, it was just a bizarre whole setup. That's true.
Because
That's right.
Rangers, well, Seth Coder called now, went through with 7
Seven.
points.
Seven, was it? Aye.
Yeah,
Jeez, oh.
that's because Rangers drew every game.
Yes, aye, the famous cardigans tactics. Johnny boy, what about yourself? What's the
European
memories?
nights.
Jumps up. You know, the thing, the build up, the anticipation for it.
The one that sticks out in my mind, I was with Peter.
Right.
We were only young. Don't know if you can mind it,
Oof.
Peter.
Is this in the 60s?
Yeah, it's 1980, Real Madrid, mind it?
Yeah, I remember it well.
We get the ticket for the front stand.
Front stand, yes.
I think it might be the first time we allowed in ourselves, 15.
For 2 years.
But I think, was it Laurie Cunningham? Was,
We were 15 in one.
Laurie Cunningham played, is it Laurie Cunningham?
Aye, Laurie Cunningham.
Aye.
The Black Panther.
And the boy that was just the Spain manager, he played for Real Madrid that night and all.
Ah,
But
right.
Celtic won, there was a big build-up, we always made the crowd 67,000, there was more than that there, I would guess. And Johnny Doyle scored a header that night.
Oh, superb.
And another Celtic player that was much maligned with Alan Snedden, he had a great game for Celtic that night up in the right mind. And unfortunately we got gubbed away from him 3-0, but there was circumstances to that as well. But that was a great build-up
Aye.
that night.
Was it because you were young and it was your first one? Was it that part of
It
it?
was amazing. I mean, I was there when they get robbed with the other mob from Madrid when I was younger, like when I was only about 9, I can remember that. But
Right.
Was that the
I just
closed
remember
doors game?
being there.
No,
No,
was
the
there no
first
closed?
No, it was
Oh, the
was
first
over.
one.
That was Atletico Madrid.
Atletico in 74, but the 1980 that night, that was great. Beating Real Madrid, I mean, imagine that nowadays.
Exactly.
Honestly. That's how I actually wanted to get them.
Was it?
I Everton, that group like that, that's what I was
Ah,
shooting
right.
for. But
Okay.
that for me, and being with my old mucker as well.
Oh. Let's go over to that old mucker. What do you remember, my man?
I was going to say that Real Madrid game.
That game, aye.
Stole my thunder.
Well, if you've got different memories for it, or,
Well, I
you
have
know.
to admit, my biggest European experience, I think, probably everybody around this table maybe agree with, is that night we beat Manchester United, Nakamura put that free kick. I've never seen Parkhead jump like that in all my life. I don't think you'll ever see it jump like that again. The full stadium just... It's as if you went up and the full stadium went up way, and when you went back down it bounced and then you went all back up again. I mean, it was just an incredible night that night.
Yes.
Because they were as cocky. They just had to turn up. And
because they were coming up for revenge that time, weren't they?
I remember the fans. The fans all getting marched. Remember where we usually have a drink. That time you could drink the grassy now, if you can remember that. And you can remember all the fans coming back, and I don't know if you know about Man United fans, they don't wear any colours. It's all black T-shirts and all this crap.
With the designer gear.
So they all walked in, they all got shappered in, and they were all singing stuff like he's a ranger in disguise, you can remember that, and all that crap. And Celtic beat them 1-0.
There you go.
Oh, Big Ferguson was raging that night.
Yes.
Celtic actually qualified that night, by the way.
Yes, they
They
did.
still had to
And they've
qualify
been
after
they
that.
still had to
That's
qualify.
right. Still chasing
Kevin
it.
McCauley knew he had it coming in again.
There wasn't many.
The vast majority of the media never knew that Celtic qualified that
That's
night.
right.
It was some of the media never actually found out until the next morning.
I think it was a
And
shock.
certainly never reported it until the next morning. Celtic
Still in
qualified.
shock.
Brilliant. Brian, you've been thrown in here at the last minute there. You never had that key phrase up front. Is
No,
there
I
any
didn't.
games that does pop into your head? Or do you want to pass?
Is it European teams arriving here? Or
Take it any way
because
you
the
want,
biggest
but
build up,
it's the anticipation.
right?
you know?
Anticipation, Seville.
Right. Sure.
I think for
For
me,
the
and it's
challenge
the
stuff.
obvious one.
Aye.
But
Any other ones for Parkhead?
for Celtic Park, there's quite a few. Actually, that first Champions League season, the biggest anticipation was our first home game for me,
Right.
and it never happened. I don't know if you remember. We were supposed to be playing Rosenborg, and it was 9/11 the day before,
Oh, God, aye, that's right.
and all the games were cancelled.
That's right.
And the Rosenborg game didn't happen, and obviously under the circumstances it was 100% correct, the decision. But it was that there had been the build-up all for weeks to our first game, and particularly after the performance over in Turin before that, when
They were robbed
we
again.
robbed against Juve. But it really, that night, even though we got beat, it lifted our expectations because of the way we performed, because they were one of the best teams in Europe at that point, and we didn't deserve a defeat.
Yep.
And so the anticipation for that game, and then it didn't take place, so that just came into my head when people were talking about it. So it was a big disappointment.
Aye.
Obviously the tragedy,
The actual reasons.
9/11, it was the right decision, but
Good
probably
man.
that one.
Good man, good memory, I like it. Right, boys, that's fantastic. Thanks a million for your contributions tonight. We'll go around the table. First of all, the guys from the club we have had.
Peter?
Ryan.
John, good man. And of course, the esteemed guest, let me see what Paul Brennan got me to read here. The guys from the world's greatest blog that's ever been done for Celtic, and all the fans and all that. Aye, platinum level, 5-star, superb,
Paul wouldn't
unbelievable.
speak like that, Richard.
Exactly, that's Paul Brennan. No, our fantastic friends from Celtic Quick News have been
Tommy.
Danny.
Chris.
brilliant. And until the next time on Tic Talk, hail, hail.
Well.
The thing I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide tin parade.